The fluorescent lights above the diner buzzed like angry hornets, casting a sickly yellow pall over the cracked vinyl booths and the grease-stained countertops. My feet were screaming inside my worn-out sneakers, the same pair I had been wearing for almost 8 months now, held together with strips of duct tape and pure stubbornness. The smell of burnt coffee and old meatloaf had soaked into my uniform, a faded pink dress that I could no longer button over the curve of my stomach. 7 months pregnant, and here I was still standing on my feet, still pretending that everything was going to be okay. I pressed one hand against the small of my back, which ached constantly, while the other hand balanced a tray of dirty dishes. The baby kicked hard, right up against my ribs, and I had to stop for a second, just to breathe through the sharp jab of discomfort. No one noticed. They never did. To the truck drivers and the late-night wanderers who came into Tony's 24-hour diner, I was invisible. Just another waitress with a name tag and a fake smile. "Order up, Keisha." Tony's gravelly voice cut through the noise. I shuffled toward the kitchen window, my movements slow and clumsy. The baby had dropped lower this past week, pressing down on my bladder and making every step a careful negotiation. I was exhausted in a way that sleep just could not fix. The night air beyond the diner's smudged windows was thick with August humidity. Rain had been threatening all evening. I caught my reflection in the window and barely recognized myself anymore. Dark circles shadowed my eyes. My curly hair, which used to be my best feature, hung in limp ringlets around my shoulders. I looked like a ghost of the girl I used to be, the girl he used to want. I pushed the thought away before it could take root. Thinking about him, about Connor, was like pressing on a bruise that never healed. 7 months since I had walked away. 7 months since I found out what he really was. 7 months of complete silence. The bell above the diner door chimed. I did not look up. I just grabbed the coffee pot and headed toward the new customer. "Welcome to Tony's. Coffee to start?" The words died in my throat. Connor Walsh stood just a few feet away. He looked exactly the same. Tall, with broad shoulders and a face that could have been carved from stone. Sharp cheekbones, a strong jaw, pale blue eyes, and blonde hair swept back from his forehead. He looked like money. He looked like danger. But it was not just him. 2 other men flanked him like shadows. Bodyguards. Of course. Because Connor Walsh did not go anywhere without protection. He was wearing a charcoal suit that probably cost more than I would make in a whole year. Everything about him screamed money, power, and danger. His eyes met mine. I watched recognition hit him like a physical blow. His entire body went rigid. Those pale eyes widened, then dropped, inevitably, to my stomach, to the big swell of my belly that my uniform could not hide. The coffee pot slipped from my fingers. It shattered against the floor in an explosion of glass and hot liquid. Everyone was staring now, but I could not move. I could not breathe. I could only stand there frozen as Connor's face changed from shock to something else. Something darker, more complicated. Keisha. My name on his lips was rough, confused. His voice rolled over me, deep and commanding. He took a step toward me. I took a step back, my sneaker crunching on broken glass. "No." The word came out smaller than I wanted, weaker. I hated how my voice shook. I hated how my hands trembled as I pressed them protectively over my belly. The baby kicked again, like she could sense my distress. Connor's jaw tightened. His eyes tracked every detail. The faded uniform, the shoes held together with tape. The way I stood slightly hunched, favoring my left side where my back hurt the worst. The dark circles, the exhaustion I could not hide. And then his eyes went back to my stomach, to the swell that was obviously, undeniably pregnant. "You are pregnant." It was not a question. It was a statement. "How long, Keisha?" Each word was precise and clipped. 7 months. The truth came out before I could stop it. I watched him do the math. Watched the exact moment when he figured it out. His hands clenched into fists at his sides. His eyes moved over my face, my hair, my skin, then back to my stomach. Something dark passed through his expression. Something that looked almost like disappointment. like he was seeing something he had not expected, something he was not sure he wanted. Is it mine? His voice dropped to something lethal. Yes. The word barely made it past my lips. Connor went completely still. It was the kind of stillness that comes before an explosion. He stared at my stomach for a long moment, and I could see him processing it. Processing that his child, his heir, would have my skin, my hair, my features mixed with his. You have been carrying my child for 7 months, and you did not tell me. I left for a reason, Connor. What reason? You killed someone. My voice cracked on the words. I saw you. I saw what you did to Michael. Michael was his former associate. I had walked into Connor's warehouse looking for him, wanting to surprise him with the news that I was pregnant. Instead, I found him standing over Michael's body, blood on his hands, death in his eyes. I ran. I packed a bag and disappeared into the night. We need to talk. He took another step closer. We have nothing to talk about. I am not leaving without you. The certainty in his voice made my blood run cold. Tony came over with a mop and dustpan. Everything okay here, Keisha? I opened my mouth to say no, but Connor's eyes never left mine. We're fine. My fiancé just had a little accident. I am here to take her home. Fiancé? The word burst out of me. We have a lot to discuss. His tone was steel wrapped in silk. Then he turned to Tony. I will pay for the damages and for her time. She will not be coming back. The lean bodyguard pulled out a wallet, Connor's wallet, and counted out several $100 bills. More money than I made in a month. Tony looked at the money, then at me, then at Connor's cold expression. Well, if that is what the lady wants. It is not, I said desperately. Connor, you cannot just what? He moved closer until I could smell him. Expensive cologne. Leather. Something darker underneath. Danger. Cannot take care of my pregnant girlfriend? Cannot make sure my child is safe. I am not yours anymore. His hand came up, and I flinched before I could stop myself. But he did not touch me. He just hovered there, his fingers inches from my face. You were always mine, Keisha. You just forgot for a while. But you are carrying my baby. Do you really think I am going to let you waste away in this place? I can take care of myself. His eyes ran over me again, taking in every detail of my exhaustion. Clearly. The word cut deeper than any knife, because he was right. I was barely surviving. Connor, please. I hated the plea in my voice. Just go. Not without you. He pulled out his phone and typed something quickly. My car will be here in 2 minutes. You can walk out with me now with some dignity, or I can carry you out. Your choice, Keisha. But either way, you are coming home with me. This is kidnapping. This is protecting my family. His voice dropped to something almost tender. You can hate me tomorrow. Tonight, you need rest, food, and medical care. When was the last time you really slept? Tears burned behind my eyes. I was so tired. So unbearably tired. And the baby was kicking again. One night, I heard myself say, I will come with you for one night to get some rest. Then we talk about this like adults. The smile that curved Connor's lips was pure victory. He knew just as well as I did that one night would turn into 2, then 3, then forever. The diner door opened, and another man entered. The car is ready. Connor's hand finally made contact, settling on the small of my aching back. The touch sent electricity racing up my spine, and I hated my body for remembering. Let us go home. I let him guide me toward the door, past the staring customers. The night air hit me like a wall when we stepped outside. A black SUV was idling at the curb, with bulletproof windows just like I had imagined. The driver opened the back door. Connor handed me inside like I was made of glass. The leather seats were soft. Climate-controlled air kissed my skin. Connor slid in beside me, close enough that our legs touched. The door closed with a heavy thud. The SUV pulled smoothly into traffic. I had escaped Connor Walsh once. But looking at his profile in the darkness, at the possessive set of his jaw, and the way his eyes kept dropping to my stomach with that strange, complicated expression, I knew with absolute certainty that I would never escape him again. The penthouse was exactly as I remembered it. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city, a glittering sprawl of lights. The furniture was modern and expensive, all clean lines and neutral colors. Everything was pristine. Everything was perfect. Everything was a cage. I stood in the living room, feeling completely out of place in my stained uniform. The baby kicked and I winced. My back was screaming now. Connor was on his phone, speaking in low, urgent tones to someone. The mountain bodyguard, who I heard Connor call Mike, stood by the door like a sentinel.
"Sit down before you fall down."
Connor's voice cut through my thoughts. He had ended his call and was watching me.
"You are swaying."
"I am fine. You are exhausted." He crossed to me in 3 long strides, his hand cupping my elbow.
"Sit. Now."
My knees buckled the moment I tried to lower myself onto the couch. Suddenly Connor's hands were on my waist, supporting me, easing me down with a care that made my throat tight. "When did you last eat?" he demanded. "I had breakfast." "It is past midnight. Try again." I looked away. The truth was I had eaten half a stale bagel around noon. Connor's jaw clenched. "Mike, have Francis prepare something.
Soup, pasta."
And get Dr. Reeves on the phone. Tell him I need him here within the hour." "I do not need a doctor," I protested. "You have not had proper prenatal care in 7 months. I have been to a clinic. The free one. A free clinic." His voice dropped to something dangerous. "You have been taking my child to a free clinic? Your child?" The words came out sharper than I intended. "You did not even know about this baby until 2 hours ago." "I have every right." "You have no rights." I struggled to my feet, ignoring the way my vision swam. "I left because of what you are, Connor. What you do. I will not raise a child in that world." He moved closer, crowding into my space. "What world is that exactly? The world where you have a roof over your head? Food in your stomach? Medical care? The world where people die, Connor. Where you kill them with your own hands." Something flickered in his expression.
"Pain maybe."
Michael betrayed the family. He knew the consequences. He was a person. He was a traitor who would have gotten us all killed. Connor's hand came up, cupping my face. "You think I wanted you to see that? I kept you separate for a reason. You kept me ignorant. I kept you safe." His thumb brushed across my cheekbone, and I hated the way I leaned into the touch. "Do you have any idea what would have happened if my enemies knew about you? If they discovered you were pregnant?" A chill slid down my spine.
"I had not thought about that." "Exactly."
He read my expression like a book. "You disappeared without a word. No protection. No security. Nothing. Do you know how many sleepless nights I have had? You did not try to find me." His laugh was bitter. "I had every resource at my disposal looking for you. You are good at hiding, Keisha, but not good enough. Not anymore." A woman appeared from the kitchen. Francis. She carried a tray laden with food. Steaming soup, fresh bread, a glass of milk. "For the young lady," she said, setting the tray on the coffee table. Her eyes softened when they landed on my belly. "You need to eat, dear." "For the baby." The smell of the soup made my stomach clench with sudden, overwhelming hunger. When was the last time I had a real meal? Connor guided me back to the couch.
"Eat.
We will talk after." I wanted to refuse, but the baby was moving inside me, and my hands were trembling as I reached for the spoon. The first taste was heaven. I found myself devouring it. Connor watched me with an expression I could not quite read. His eyes kept moving from my face to my stomach and back again. There was something there I did not like. Something that looked like he was calculating. Assessing. "Better?" he asked when I had finished. I nodded. Francis cleared the tray and disappeared. Mike had vanished too, leaving us alone. "Dr. Reeves will be here soon," Connor said, settling onto the couch beside me. "He is the best obstetrician in the city. He will examine you, make sure everything is okay with the baby." Why does it matter so much? The question slipped out. "You have everything. Money.
Power.
Why do you care about one baby?" The look he gave me was intense. "Because it is my baby. My blood. My heir." His hand moved to my belly, settling there with a possessiveness that made my breath catch. And because I have spent 7 months thinking you were gone forever. The baby kicked against his palm. Connor's eyes widened, then something shifted in his expression. He stared at my stomach, at where his hand rested, and I saw him look at my skin, my brown skin, against his pale hand. The contrast was stark, visible. His jaw tightened almost imperceptibly, and he pulled his hand back slowly.
The doorbell chimed.
Dr. Reeves entered, a distinguished-looking man in his 60s, carrying a medical bag. The examination was thorough. Dr. Reeves checked my blood pressure, listened to the baby's heartbeat, measured my belly. "Your blood pressure is elevated," he said. "Not dangerously so, but higher than I would like. And you are underweight for this stage of pregnancy. I am going to recommend bed rest for the remainder of your pregnancy. Light activity only. No stress. No physical labor. And you need to gain weight. At least 10 pounds before delivery. Bed rest?" Panic fluttered in my chest. "I cannot afford." "Money is not an issue," Connor interrupted. "Whatever she needs." Dr. Reeves nodded. "I want to see you twice a week for monitoring. And I am going to schedule an ultrasound for tomorrow morning at my office." After Dr. Reeves left, Connor helped me to my feet. "Come, I will show you to your room." "My room? Did you think I would make you share mine?" Something flashed in his eyes. "I know you are not ready for that."
Not yet.
He led me down a hallway and pushed open a door. The bedroom was gorgeous. An enormous bed with crisp, white linens. Windows overlooking the city. "There are clothes in the closet," Connor said.
I had Francis purchase some things.
"Maternity clothes. Everything in your size." I stared at him. "You bought me maternity clothes tonight?" I made a call. Money talks. He set pajamas on the bed. "The bathroom is through there, fully stocked with anything you might need." "I know you are scared," he said, moving closer. "I know you hate what I am. But I love you, Keisha. I have loved you from the moment you walked into my life. And I will burn this entire city down before I let anything happen to you or our child." "That is not love, Connor. That is obsession. With you, they're the same thing." He pressed his forehead to mine.
"Stay, please.
"Just give me a chance to prove I can be what you need. What our baby needs." "1 week," I whispered. "I will stay for 1 week. If I am not happy, you let me go. You let us go." It was a lie. And we both knew it. But he nodded anyway. 1 week. "I will prove to you that this is where you belong." He kissed my forehead and left. I stood in the beautiful bedroom, my hand on my belly, feeling the baby move beneath my palm. I woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows. For a moment, I did not remember where I was. Then it all came rushing back. A knock at the door.
Come in."
Francis entered with a breakfast tray. "Mr. Walsh asked me to bring you breakfast. Your appointment with Dr. Reeves is at 10. The car will be ready whenever you are." After breakfast, I showered and found the closet full of maternity clothes. I chose a simple navy dress that flowed over my belly and paired it with comfortable flats. Another knock. Connor entered. He had changed since last night. Dark slacks, a crisp white shirt with the sleeves rolled up. His eyes swept over me, taking in the dress, the way I had pulled my damp, curly hair back. His gaze lingered on my hair for a moment, on the tight ringlets that were so different from his straight blonde hair. Then he looked away.
"You look better," he said. "The car is ready.
We should leave soon." The drive to Dr. Reeves's office was silent. Connor sat beside me in the back of the SUV, his hand finding mine. I should have pulled away, but his touch was warm. Dr. Reeves's office was in an exclusive medical building. We were ushered past the waiting room into a private suite. "Good morning," Dr. Reeves greeted us. "Ready to see your baby?" The exam room had state-of-the-art equipment. Dr. Reeves had me lie back and helped me position my dress. The gel was cold, making me gasp. Connor stood beside me, his hand finding mine again. Then Dr. Reeves pressed the wand to my belly, and the screen flickered to life. There was a tiny person, arms, legs, a head, moving and shifting. "There's your baby," Dr. Reeves said. Good, strong heartbeat. I could not look away from the screen. "Would you like to know the sex?" Dr. Reeves asked. I glanced at Connor. His eyes were fixed on the screen, studying the image, looking for something. Looking for himself in the tiny features. Yes, he said, his voice rough. Dr. Reeves moved the wand. Congratulations. You are having a daughter. A daughter. I was going to have Connor's daughter. I felt Connor's hand tighten on mine. A daughter, he repeated, like he could not quite believe it. His eyes stayed on the screen, and I wondered what he was thinking. If he was imagining her with my skin and his eyes, my hair and his smile. Everything looks good, Dr. Reeves continued. She is measuring right on track. After the appointment, Dr. Reeves printed ultrasound images and handed them to Connor. He stared at them for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Then he tucked them into his jacket pocket without a word. We drove back to the penthouse in silence. That afternoon, I sat in the living room, looking out at the city. Connor was in his office. Francis brought me lunch and then disappeared. The penthouse was quiet. I heard Connor's footsteps before I saw him. He came into the living room and stood by the windows, looking out at the skyline.
Keisha, he said.
When you left, when you found out you were pregnant, why didn't you come to me?
Because I saw what you did, Connor.
I was terrified. I did not want my baby anywhere near that. She is my daughter too. My blood. My heir. He turned to look at me. Do you understand what that means? In my world, in my family, blood is everything. She will carry my name, my legacy. I know, Connor. He stared at me for a long moment. Then his eyes dropped to my stomach. His expression flickered. That same look from last night. Something uncertain. Something almost like disappointment. What is it? I asked. What are you thinking? Nothing. It is not nothing. I stood up, facing him. I have seen that look twice now. The way you look at me, at my stomach, like you are not sure what to think. I am light-skinned, Connor. I am black. And you are white. Our daughter is going to be mixed. If that is a problem for you, you need to tell me now. The silence that followed was heavy. Connor stared at me, and for a moment, I saw something raw in his eyes. It is not a problem, he said finally. His voice was flat. She is my daughter. But, no buts. He moved closer, his hands coming up to cup my face. She is my daughter. I will love her. I will protect her. I will give her everything. I searched his face, looking for the lie, for the hesitation. But his expression was steady. Okay, I whispered. He kissed me then. When he pulled back, he pressed his forehead to mine. I love you, Keisha. I love her. That is all that matters. The months passed. My belly grew. Connor was true to his word, attentive and caring. He came to every doctor's appointment. He set up the nursery himself. But I saw the looks, the way people stared when we went out together. The tall, blonde, wealthy white man and the pregnant black woman. And sometimes, late at night, I saw something in Connor's eyes too. The labor was long and hard. 12 hours of pain, of Connor's voice in my ear telling me I could do it. And then, finally, a cry. She is here, Dr. Reeves said. Congratulations. You have a daughter. They placed her on my chest, and I looked down at her for the first time. She was so small, so perfect. Her skin was lighter than mine, darker than Connor's. A beautiful golden brown. Her eyes, when they fluttered open, were pale blue. Connor's eyes. And on her head was a dusting of dark curls. My curls. I looked up at Connor. He was staring at her, his expression unreadable. For a long moment, he just stood there, looking at our daughter. Looking at this tiny person who was a perfect blend of both of us. She is beautiful, I whispered. Connor blinked. Then he reached out, his finger hovering over her tiny hand. She grabbed onto it with surprising strength, and something shifted in his face. The uncertainty vanished. The hesitation dissolved. What was left was pure wonder. She is perfect, he said, his voice rough with emotion. She is absolutely perfect. He looked at me then, and there were tears in his eyes. I am sorry, he said quietly, for ever making you doubt, for ever making you wonder if I could love her the way she deserves. I love her Keisha. I love you both. And I will spend the rest of my life making sure you know that. I believed him. In that moment, looking at my daughter in my arms and the man I loved beside me, I believed him completely. What should we name her? I asked. Connor smiled. Maya. Maya Rose Walsh. Welcome to the world. Maya, I whispered. We have been waiting for you. 3 months later, I stood in the nursery, watching Connor rock Maya to sleep. He was humming softly, and she was drifting off, her tiny hand wrapped around his finger. He looked up and caught me watching. What? He asked. Nothing. I just love watching you with her. She is my whole world, Keisha. You both are. He looked down at Maya, at her golden skin and dark curls, at the pale blue eyes that were slowly closing. She stirred, and he rocked her gently. I used to worry, he said quietly, about what she would look like, about what people would think, about whether I could love her the way a father should. I stayed quiet, but now I look at her, and I do not see anything except my daughter, my little girl. He looked up at me, his eyes shining. She is the best thing I have ever done, the best thing we have ever done, and I would not change a single thing about her. I crossed the room and wrapped my arms around him, careful not to wake Maya. I love you, Connor Walsh. I love you too, Keisha. Both of you, forever. Maya slept on, peaceful and perfect, a living bridge between two worlds. And in that moment, standing together in the soft glow of the nursery, we were a family, messy and complicated, and exactly what we were meant to be.